Hey guys, Luxker here. Really quick, I just want to make just a separate post recording here. Last week, Cyclone Fox made a patch detailing new stuff that's going to be added to the game. And one of these is new skills added to skill trees. I recorded this in advance, and I have already made images relating to the skills that are in the current skill branches for each character. Unfortunately, I have recorded all the videos relating from Jan, Melis, Lactus, and Bugs. I haven't edited Bugs' skill tree and just general guide and stuff like that, but I have for basically all the characters. So the skill trees are going to be a little bit different in when you play the newest patch than what is going to be shown off in this version. But I am going to be making another guide video on all the playable characters in Xenosaga Pied Piper fan recreation that will detail basically the new skills that are added and any other new techniques that are added as well. The skill points are also have been redone. You will get more skill points from battles now instead of just the typical ones that you have currently. That doesn't mean that my current skills at this moment is going to be different from how you would play, but it's recommended that you would go on the same path as I have been doing on the old skill trees if you're going to be doing that. Anyways, I just wanted to clear that up. So anyways, let's get back to the video. So, you're planning to dive into a mind of a dead person. As a doctor, I can't allow this. Connecting the nervous system of a corpse carries the risk of being influenced by the signals from its deteriorating vital systems. In short, it can drag you to death alongside them. On top of that, it's illegal without the proper authorization. If we don't confirm this, things could get worse. We're out of time. This body might not be Voyager. You're saying the real Voyager is still alive and could cause further incidents? Exactly. I'll give you 45 minutes. Medically speaking, that's the longest I can guarantee your safety for. Thanks for the help. Don't thank me yet. You should probably already know, but you'll need the right equipment to monitor the dive. Equipment from the Federation Police Forensics Division would be enough for the job. So we'll need to transport the body then? Yes. Unauthorized transport of the body, if anyone realizes that the body is missing? How much time can you cover for us? Luckily, it's in the middle of the night. Only 2 guards and I have access to this room right now. They've just finished the midnight patrol, so you should be safe until the next patrol at 2 a.m. It's 12:15 now. It'll take us 30 minutes to get to the dive room. That's an hour round trip, and the dive time is capped at 45 minutes. Once again, cutting it too close. Again? Something that happened earlier. We'll be back by 2 o'clock. We won't cause you any trouble. Wait! What's wrong? I'm coming with you. I know someone in the forensics department can help me pass this off as an urgent experiment. I can't let you get involved. Just covering for us here is already more than enough. I'll make it seem like the room's still occupied and locked. A trick my lazy colleagues use all the time. Why are you helping us? As a doctor, I can't just ignore such a dangerous dive. Are you really okay with this? Yes. Whew! We finally made it this far. If we can just get to the body to the briefing room. Yeah, but this is all off the record. We'll need to keep things quiet while we're in the station. In short, we need to reach the briefing room without anyone noticing us. Exactly. Captain, that's impossible! Even on the night shift, there are still plenty of people around. It's going to be really tough to get all the way to the briefing room without getting spotted. Malice, What's with that attitude? We'll figure it out. Look, if someone spots us, it won't just be a matter of writing a report. It'll be far worse. So I guess we'll have no choice but to go through with this. Exactly. We don't have much time. Let's move to the briefing room. Hey guys! Luxker here. Welcome back to Xenosaga Pied Piper fan recreation. Last time, we defeated the macrophage called Egil, and Klaus unfortunately threw himself out and is left in a coma. This time, we are back in the police station to head back to Klaus's body to perform a jump into his mind, if we can possibly get there. So, if we go ahead and go through here, we get noticed. Captain Sour, what are you doing there? And basically we get a game over here. So as you can already tell just from that going in front of her alone, you get a game over when you actually walk up to them. So it's basically like a stealth-related task. So it's actually really important to have the always dash off option just turned off, so you won't accidentally run into these guards on the way over. But now, it's a good time to finally talk about the options to this game. So as you can see right here, always dash is already off by default, but you can actually turn it on in the settings. The always dash option always makes you sprint it instead of actually holding down a button, or double clicking using the mouse only. I personally always have this option on, but it's useful for turning off in order to dodge enemy encounters through sneaking around or going through this section in general. The command remember remembers the last command used in menus. It's helpful if you want to use healing items quickly or equipping things quickly as well. The touch UI is useful if you have a touchscreen display or are playing this on a phone or tablet. You can turn this option on to enable touch UI if you played Pied Piper this way. I personally don't prefer this if you're playing on PC. Only option for playing this mode is on a mobile device. It's really helpful. The group heal UI, it basically shows a button to have the ability to heal the whole team as a group if you want to decide to play that way. This option is always available even without using touch UI, so it's helpful for newer players too. Character portraits, you can use to switch between any character face which are displayed during dialogue sections. The modern option shows a bust up option for the main characters, and the classic option uses a crop version of the character art to simulate how they look in older RPGs and visual novels. CG modus is actually switches what style of CGs are used during cutscenes, with new being the remade portraits either upscaled or made by artists for this recreation, and the original is just upscaled versions of the CGs used in the original Pied Piper game. Keep in mind that this option is only still a work in progress, so not all CGs will be remade. I am personally keeping at original to keep the CG art style consistent with the rest of the game. But I have been sharing the remade CGs in the end cards of the videos, while giving credit to Venus who made the remade CGs. Language is self-explanatory what it does. It changes the languages between games. There's English, Japanese, German, French, and Spanish translations of Pied Piper recreation. So I'll go ahead and get to just keep it in English here. But it's nice to have like all these language options right here for multiple languages if you're playing it that way. So these next three options change the volume of the music, ambient sounds, which can give a sound to hear when changing the volume, and sound effects too. So if you want to change those as well. Also, there's a new option right here in newer patches called controls right here. So it basically allows you to map your buttons to which controller you want to have on here. So it even shows you the keyboard functions as well as the controller functions on the right as well. So really helpful if you're using that right here. You can change controller types, like if you're playing on a PlayStation controller. And then we also have the reset all function if you want to go back to the default controls right here. So really useful for mapping out controls too if you are not playing it on Steam. So Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and turn the always dash function off for this section so we accidentally don't have get caught by anybody here. So now that we have that covered, let's go ahead and begin the stealth section. So we want to make sure this NPC just walks away from us. So, and also the elevators don't work here too, so just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and go up the stairs here. Got one guy right here. I'm gonna go. We want to not have him see us by going down here. Right here we have a spinner for like Pokemon right here, so it just spins around and doesn't see us. So I'm just gonna go all the way over here. There we go. Wait for this guy to come up. Basically, yeah, these guys are basically like spinners from Pokemon. If you ever played Pokemon before, they basically like go left and right and you get an encounter in a battle. So, but anyways, looks like we got through without being spotted. Alright, let's get moving. Mikhail, hurry up and get the dive preparations done. Eric, prep the level 6 armament for bugs. Got it! No problem. Leave it to me! Understood. Sorry for the sudden rush. I'm counting on all of you. So yeah, we're basically here right now with everybody in the party. I'm gonna go ahead and turn always dash back on again. Because, you know, I love freaking dashing, dude. So, right here, since we have the decoder for segment address 5, let's go ahead and unlock it. And right over here is Whip 20 right here. This is Bug's strongest weapon. Yeah, we're already getting the strongest weapons already here. Look at how much attack and ether attack it gives you. This is well worth sacrificing the vitality and ether defense for. So basically, Bugs is just gonna be a machine, basically, just all throughout here. Right here we have the Gustav ring. It increases its HP by 30. I am gonna actually equip this on Jan here, and we'll give the green. We'll have the green give Bugs the green Oasis right here. We also have a blue star as well, an extra blue star. I'm just gonna give that to Bugs right now. So, all right. So now we're basically in the room where it happened. Just basically, we have Klaus and the Acephalon right here. Klaus's corpse, huh? We must find out if this guy is really Voyager or not. We don't have much time left. Please prepare quickly. I've said it before, but diving into a corpse is very dangerous. Please be punctual. Yes, I will. I'm sorry. I've caused you so much trouble as well. I don't mind. I don't want to see any more victims either. We're being nice to her all of a sudden. But here we finally have access to the shops again. And as you can see right here, we are now able to buy Revive M's for one. So it's really nice to even have. The Nullifier disengages an enemy's stat supports as well. So if you're ever one of those people that wants to just nullify stats on the enemies right here when they use them, those will be pretty helpful. But not only that, we have some new equipment right here that we can buy from the shop right here. We got all the bracelet items that decrease damage against elemental attacks. These colored bracelets right here actually add an element to your attack if you ever like one of those people that want to just use elements all the time and just use them on regular attacks. These are actually pretty helpful if you want to do that. These aren't like super helpful in many situations because a lot of enemies and bosses aren't resistant to physical anyways, except perhaps another character which I'll talk about later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and sell my old stuff real quick. Alright, swimming in money. Alright, so now for the rest of the video, I'm actually gonna go head back to previous areas to retrieve hidden chests that Lactus can find, and go back to one of the segment addresses to obtain an item. So let's go ahead and actually go into the EVS right here, and I want to head back to the Draper for virtual reality. That's going to be our first destination that we're going to. So as we're going back to that spot, actually, I want to go ahead and talk about Lactus a little bit more. He is known for having the highest agility and luck in the game, but also capable of doing multiple hits of damage to get the BP bar up even higher in battle. His main weaknesses are his low HP and fragile vitality and ether defense. You would want Lactus to not be hit by too many attacks, or he goes down very quickly. It is all thanks to Jackal, which is one of the best physical attacks in the game in terms of BP growth. It is a pretty low EP move that can hit twice in battles, but can get you more BP than any other tech that you can get right now. Lactus also learns offensive ether, but it's only really useful early on in the game when Jan doesn't have much support ether to use. The top skill tree is one of the best skill trees in the game, and you want to prioritize this one above all else. Let's start with Confiscate, which you already know how useful it is. It steals enemy and boss items and equipment, and that's it. We have already seen how extremely important this tech is, so let's go to the next tech. Refresh is actually really useful to have on Lactus. He has a lot of healing ether to use, and he usually goes first in battle to use healing ether, which is why having Refresh is so useful. It is low EP, and it works on everyone to cure their status inflictions. Phantom is one of the best arts in the game because it is basically a free physical attack that also has the effect of recovering EP from using it. And finally, the last great tech he has is Jackal 2. Probably the best physical attacking art in the game. Just wait until you see how much damage this does if you think Jackal is broken already. Revert is probably the only art in this tree that isn't useful at all, but come on. This tree is amazing for not only gaining a little bit of agility and EP to use for Jackal 2, but everything else that just makes Lactus a complete monster. But wait, what about the other two skill trees? Yeah, I don't find them particularly useful because Melis already is the ether dealing party member already. It has some neat attack and agility stat increases, which is probably the only good parts about him. It's not that his ether attack stat is bad, don't get me wrong. It's just that, why would you do damage with ether when you got Jackal already doing the damage for you? Overall, Lactus is an incredible party member right out of the gate with chances to get special attacks off very quickly. Just don't really teach him any ether moves. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and head back here, actually. So, I want to go ahead and talk about Lactus some more. So here's a little bit neat piece of trivia for you all to know. Lactus is the first example of a very early prototype of a Realian. They were not common at this universe at the time, and they became way more common in the time period of Xenosaga Episode 1 due to more advanced technologies out there at that point. So, anyways, we have the decoder for segment address 7. Let's go ahead and unlock it. And in here, we get a Ring of Eden. That right there has EP consumption. So it's very useful for characters who don't have a lot of EP but want to spam moves in general. I'm going to go ahead and equip this on Jan right here. I'm going to get rid of the Gustav ring on him real quick. And put the Ring of Eden on Jan right here. Because of his supportive moves having to cost a lot of EP to use. So this is really helpful because Jan, as we discussed in a previous episode, he doesn't have a lot of EP. So it's just very useful for him to use just to be able to spam EP a whole lot. So, but yeah, it's really cool in general. I actually want to go back to the room where Baldur is. Because when we go back into the room, we don't have Baldur to find here. But instead, if we go onto the left side right here, we get a hidden treasure chest, which contains Decoder 11. But we don't have that segment address yet. So that's everything that we can get in this zone going back now. So I'm going to go back to the menu, and we have a new menu option when we're in the EVS. And here we can actually go ahead and leave the EVS to go back to the police station. But we still have more stuff to obtain from previous areas that have stuff hidden chests. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright. So we're at the Sky Tower right now, so let's go ahead and go up to the very top of it by going up this elevator right here. And we want to go back to where we fought Egil in the previous episode, because you have it back up here. Once you know it, there's a hidden chest right here, which contains Decoder 3. So now, going back to the Cathedral in the EVS, let's head over to segment address 3 over there. So we're almost at the door, and let's unlock it. And in the chest contains an Emperor's Bracelet. This halves physical, fire, and ice damage taken from an enemy. It is very useful to have on characters who don't want to take a lot of hits. I'm going to go ahead and equip this on Melis to not have her take damage from such attacks. And I am going to put, I'm actually going to put the Grand Design on Jan so he doesn't get muted like we got from the previous encounter. So going back to this room here, there is a hidden chest right over here in this dead-end area. Right here. When we go ahead and get to it, it contains a Decoder 10, which we don't know what the segment address is for. Hooray for foreshadowing! Going back to the room in the cathedral where Jan teleported to, and we get yet, let's see it. Is it right over here? Yeah. Right here in the middle right here, we get yet another hidden chest, which contains Decoder 13. We don't have the segment address yet, though, so keep that in mind here. I should point out while we are in the cathedral, if we are only 10 levels higher than what the Emmy's level is, we have the option to skip the entire encounter entirely, which is definitely a huge time saver for backtracking. Going all the way to the end of this cathedral area, and in this area where we found the creepy ambassador children at the cathedral, is another hidden chest containing Decoder 15. And surprise, surprise, we don't have the segment address for this yet. Going back to the training area, you won't believe this, but there are hidden chests everywhere too. And there's even one behind McCallum's desk right over here, which contains a Decoder 1. And yes, we do not have the segment address for this either. And going back into the locker room right over here, we have yet another hidden chest, which contains Decoder 4. Say it with me, folks. We don't have the segment address for this one yet. I definitely think it is a good idea to pick up these decoders now before heading forward, just so we can have them when we do come across a segment address in the near future. So, I feel like this is a good place to stop the video. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the history of Xenosaga Pied Piper. The concept of Pied Piper was that it was going to be part of Xenosaga Episode 2, but Molotov has yet to decide what the story was going to be presented as. Tetsuya Takahashi always wanted the story of Ziggy from Xenosaga Episode 1 to be told in his plan for the series, and he had the story in the original draft of Episode 2 before it was moved to its own game. Takahashi also said that important elements such as the history and information of the immigrant fleet are important details to learn about moving forward. At the time, Namco's mobile phone content division was enthusiastic about making a mobile spin-off game for Xenosaga created for Japanese phone services such as iMode and Vodafone. This was pretty unexpected from the team working at Molosoft, as they were still struggling with the development of Xenosaga Episode 2 due to internal restructurings within the company during the time to allow new game creators to be part of the company. Nonetheless, the team agreed on making a phone game with the Namco mobile phone content division helping with the development, while Molosoft would be in charge of the scenario. The goal was making this mobile spin-off game at Molosoft was that they wanted to have a vision of creating various kinds of media to supplement Xenosaga's main story after Episode 1. Molosoft's CEO Hirohide Sagiura said that leaving the young developers at Namco's mobile division to create the mobile game would be better for keeping development technologies and cost management rules for that field in place. Since Takahashi wasn't a series director anymore at this point, He thought that the mobile spin-off title showcasing Ziggy's backstory was necessary for important events in later titles. So he, along with his wife, Kaori Tanaka, or known by her pen name, Xenosaga, wrote the game script. Xenosaga was particularly keen on the changes the studio was going to make at the time. Ziggy's past being taken out of Episode 2's plot affected Pied Piper's scenario as well. Saga then had to do a complete rewrite of Pied Piper without getting paid for it by the company. With the new direction the Xenosaga team was taking, Xenosaga was told that her services were no longer needed for the series, making Pied Piper the last Xenoseries game she has written herself. She is left uncredited in the original game's credits. Xenosaga Pied Piper was first shown off at Business Show Tokyo 2004, held in May, to show off the capabilities of the Vodafone, where it was codenamed Xenosaga, with an official announcement on July 14, 2004, where the first chapter was released alongside Xenosaga Mobile, the exclusive Vodafone distribution site that offered ringtones, wallpapers, and acted as a launcher for Xenosaga Pied Piper, with Chapter 2 releasing September 1st, and Chapter 3 releasing October 1st. All 6 parts of Pied Piper were all stored on their executable file, while each chapter was released for 525 yen each, or about $3.65 USD back in 2004. 2 years later, Pied Piper was made available for the NTT Docomo's iMode service through the App Karen Namco site. Then through the Namco Games portal, Tom Cree was brought on to help with the development for the iMode version of Pied Piper, since Namco was in the process of merging with Bandai, and they couldn't get their mobile development team to work on that version. However, all good things can't last long. Due to the declining sales of Vodaphones in Japan, many of their phones began to phase out over the coming years. Vodaphones in Japan started to phase out, as well as its interest was sold off to SoftBank in 2006, and converted the service to SoftBank Mobile, who stopped selling phones completely when they agreed to a partnership with Apple to help bring the iPhone to Japan. For the iMode phones, they lasted all the way until 2015 when the last iMode model was released. There are not many iMode phones out there now, and the service in its entirety is scheduled to end at the end of March 2026. For the longest time, it was very difficult to be able to play Xenosaga Pied Piper, since the service is so niche in the Western world, and is mainly known in Japan for the longest time. It was a given back in the late 2000s that the services that had Xenosaga Pied Piper will come to an end at some point, and there is now a growing need to preserve it. At the time, there was not a very satisfying way for everyone to play and preserve Pied Piper. The only thing that was preserved was the script, and its shoddy English fan translation by Chaos Lace in 2006. It wasn't until 11 years later in 2017 when a Japanese YouTuber going by Keiju uploaded the first full playthrough of Xenosaga Pied Piper onto YouTube, which attracted a lot of attention. People got incredibly excited, and people started to try to convince him to dump the game onto the internet, or send the phone off to someone to have the game dumped themselves. However, to everyone's dismay, it didn't happen. There were many reasons why Keiju didn't want to dump the game onto the internet, from Japanese laws preventing video game piracy, to the potential of having their phone destroyed if someone were to figure out how to get the game off the phone and onto the internet. However, Keiju was totally fine to have English subtitles be on the video, so one such English Xeno fan going by the name Valak Turtle made a playlist with the video captioned instead of using Chaos Lace's translation, with a few touch-ups done to the full script due to his proficiency in Japanese. However, not even the script or video playlists of people playing Pied Piper on their phones just wasn't really enough in the end. People needed to be more immersed and actually play the game that was actually made. It even went as far as contacting Gmode, a Japanese mobile game and archiving company, to have them contact Bandai Namco to archive Pied Piper so it can be released on modern platforms. After many attempts over the years to get Gmod to preserve Pied Piper for the fans, it sadly never came to be. In 2024, Cyclone Fox released a demo of a fan recreation of Xenosaga Pied Piper Chapter 1 Sequence 1, which gave it a lot of attention. This was the first time that people can actually play Xenosaga Pied Piper on their own, and in English as well, but it was only a case of what's to come. Near the end of 2024, someone from the Keitai Wiki Discord server got into contact with a Japanese person who had a lot of iMode games on their phone. The person then posted a list of all the games that he had on there, which included Xenosaga Pied Piper. I will have Xenobits' video to have you talk about the rest of the story, but after many months of trial and error, of 2 decades of no one in the West being able to play this game fully in English, Valak Turtle released this video. It is done. The iMode version of Xenosaga Pied Piper, with all 6 sequences, has been preserved. It is now fully playable on any device using a Doja SDK, or the Keitai World Launcher that is currently in beta right now. And that's the end of the history of Xenosaga Pied Piper. There's still more developments to come relating to the English translation with Valak Turtle, but he's still coming along just as fine. Next time on Xenosaga Pied Piper, we will jump into Klaus's mind to confront him about Voyager's whereabouts. Until next time, see you on the other side!